Hello and welcome to EZIRA Hangout number 16. Today is the 22nd of July 2018 and you're here with your host Harrison McLean, and we're here to discuss the project updates of the EZIRA network. But first, what is EZIRA? EZIRA is a protocol for blockchain social media with a decentralized exchange and a peer-to-peer marketplace. Users can make posts on boards, groups or profiles and encrypt them to make them private. Businesses can create crypto assets to represent voting power and distribute revenue. Merchants can list products for sale and receive free and virtually instant payments from customers. Users earn rewards when they post valuable content, earn tips, and can charge micropayments to access premium content. Supernodes earn rewards for providing file storage through IPFS. The EZIRA protocol earns revenue by selling account membership, post promotion, and charging trading fees. Every EZIRA interface can choose which content to display and how to sort it. The protocol has no censorship. Users can choose which identity to use for posting, whether it be their full profile, persona, or anonymous. EZIRA users and applications that create accounts for new users earn an ongoing share of the revenue from those users. So that pretty much sums up what the EZIRA protocol does, and it's important to remember that EZIRA is not a business in the strictest sense of the word. EZIRA is a protocol with business logic built into it. It is essentially a blockchain that runs as a business because blockchains enable businesses to be replaced by protocols, and that's going to be one of the recurring themes that I'm going to continue to reiterate. The power of blockchains is that they can replace businesses with protocols. So, this week's project updates. EZIRA Melbourne Meetup. EZIRA will be having a meetup at the Melbourne Blockchain Centre on the 25th of July. That is in a couple of days. This will be the premiere of the EZIRA pitch deck and will be the largest public presentation of the EZIRA project yet. That's right, EZIRA is moving into physical space because we will be having a pitch presentation at the Melbourne Blockchain Centre this Wednesday night, the 25th of July. The event details are on Facebook. If you are in or around Melbourne, everyone is welcome. There will be food and drinks provided, and there's expected to be well over 100 people there present to hear EZIRA pitch its project and pitch the business model to the largest audience to date. Next up is the EZIRA node software development. So the EZIRA development team has now launched a new Steam chain. That's right, a new Steam chain, and will be upgrading the alpha soon to fix some bugs that we have been hearing. We've been listening to your feedback and we'll be fixing some of the bugs with the alpha that was only intended as a prototype, but we'll be fixing those bugs and we'll be integrating the new Steam chain into the Steam Connect API. That means very soon the Steam on the EZIRA prototype will be different and distinct from the Steam on the Steam mainnet. So there'll be a new Steam chain created, and as such it will have its own blockchain history. That's only for testing purposes though, but we will be running the EZIRA Alpha prototype on its own distinct chain in the coming weeks. You can try the Alpha prototype at alpha.ezira.io. And lastly, this week on the project updates, EZIRA will be discounted to 60 cents for the next 7 days only until the 30th of July. That's next week's Hangout. After next week's Hangout, the price will be increased from 60 cents to 75 cents. So for those of you who would like to pick up some EZIRA while it is discounted, you can do so before the 30th of July. The weekly auction this week will not have any minimum price, and all 10,000 EZIRA will be distributed to bidders. So for those of you looking to acquire EZIRA through the weekly auction, simply send your bids of bitshares or bitUSD to EZIRA on bitshares. That's EZIRA on bitshares. It's a lifetime member account, and you can't miss it in the transfer interface. Next up this week, I'd like to show you guys the getting started with bitshares video, which is intended to be a guide for very new users who may never have even heard of bitshares before, to get started with bitshares. So this video was released on the EZIRA YouTube channel a couple of days ago, primarily in anticipation of the coming interest from the Dollars with Cents interview that I did on Monday last week. So there should be some large influx of public interest coming in from the interview with myself and the leader of Dollars with Cents. So that'll be posted on their Facebook page, which has well over 45,000 likes. And I'll be distributing that video to the EZIRA community when it becomes available to me. It'll also be airing live on Australian local TV. So that's the first time that EZIRA has been featured on TV before. So that's why I made the video, in anticipation of the influx of users from the mainstream. Because that's what EZIRA is about. It's about bringing cryptocurrency out of the digital world and into the physical world, with normal everyday people being able to use it for their regular commerce and things like that. It's not about being the most advanced cryptocurrency in terms of all the fancy features, even though it has lots of fancy features, but the most important thing is to choose the features that matter to everyday people, so that it can appeal to the mainstream, and so that people can access it without needing to understand years and years of prior cryptocurrency knowledge in order to even get to the point of buying a cryptocurrency. You've got to go through a complicated exchange process and go through all sorts of identity verification, and it's just not going to be viable for the world's well over 6 billion to 7 billion people now. There has to be a better way, and the better way is for people to earn it without needing to buy it. That's my view. So next up we'll go on to that video there, and I won't play all of it, but I'll give you guys a bit of a taste of what that looks like in practice. So that video is over here, and it's called Getting Started with Bitshares and Buying EZIRA. Welcome to EZIRA. EZIRA is the distributed social media and business platform that will enable everyone to share information and value freely. Today, we're going to learn how to get started with EZIRA. First, start off by going to www.ezira.io. So it explains the process for new users
create your free BitShares address.
to be able to create their BitShares address.
This takes you to exchange.ezira.io. This is
really
a wallet
friendly, really
interface
simple.
to the BitShares blockchain.
Super simple stuff.
But first, you might
Just
other exchange
holds people's hands while they use
of
BitShares for the first time.
To get started, next,
Click goes through the account creation process.
location, where you can keep the
Guides the
keys.
user to download the wallet file.
Started using BitShares, which is the blockchain that EZIRA runs on.
And describes
Today,
it
we're going to
real
start
entry
with
level.
Bitcoin.
And then describes the process of
Then
depositing
copy
Bitcoin through
this
OpenLedger.
Bitcoin address into your Bitcoin wallet and send your desired amount of Bitcoin to this wallet.
and then
We'll
demos the
start off by
process of
sending some
depositing Bitcoin
to this address.
to John-7.
This
the address
has
that
now received
was made for
its
the demo.
Bitcoin. Then head
And
to
it
the
shows the
exchange,
process
then
of
B
buying
to C button under the
$30
My
US
Markets
worth of
section.
EZIRA off of the
EZIRA button.
Bitcoin market pair.
And there we have it. Exchange.
So basically it guides new users through the absolute path of least resistance way to get their hands on some EZIRA. So that's really useful for people who may have heard of Bitcoin, might have some Bitcoin, but won't necessarily have the knowledge or confidence to be able to guide themselves through the bitshares decentralized exchange account creation process. A little bit unsure, so that's a visual guide with some reassuring instructions for people to be able to manage their way through that process. And we've put a great big easy to click link on the front of EZIRA to help people get their bitshares account, because that is one of the largest barriers to EZIRA's adoption, and that is the fact that people generally don't already have a bitshares account. So signing them up, making that process easier, is a really easy way for EZIRA to make things better for all of their mainstream users. So next up this week is the Hangout thread review. So we'll take a look through this week's EZIRA Hangout thread and see if there were any interesting questions posed this week. We'll also be drawing the winner of the EZIRA Hangout thread competition in just a moment using random.org. So this week's Hangout thread included a link to that video we just skimmed through there, and it includes this here Hangout thread upvoting competition. So first thing, we'll draw this competition here. So the winner of this competition will win 50 bitshares and 50 EZIRA, and this competition is going to be on every EZIRA Hangout thread from now on. So if you upvote the comment and reply with your bitshares address, you go into the running to win 50 bitshares and 50 EZIRA. So we have 1. Looks like 3 entries this week. Very good odds for those who are following along with the Hangout thread. Yeah, it just looks like 3 entries, so this one's not too hard at all. It's just between 1 and 3, so we'll pick the 5th number, and 1, 2, 3. And the 5th number is number 1. Congratulations to the first bitshares address, which is Historia Fitness. Congratulations, Historia Fitness. You've won 50 bitshares and 50 EZIRA. Okay, so moving along with the rest of the thread. We'll see if there's any interesting questions this week. Thank you to Chris Ike for pointing out a small error in the Whitepaper link. Thanks for correcting that. And we have online 87700 who has said that good information about EZIRA coin. I'll join the airdrop for this coin and let's hope for the best. Thank you, bro, for this update. So there isn't really an EZIRA airdrop, but thanks for the sentiment. And a few other comments there. So that pretty much wraps up this week's EZIRA Hangout thread review, and we will go back to the Discord. So we'll jump right into this week's EZIRA discussion topics. And this week we have a few very important topics to discuss. So first up is the EZIRA interview on dollars with cents. So for those of you who aren't from Australia, Dollars with Cents is a small community TV show that focuses on financial advice and cryptocurrency topics for a very mainstream audience. And they air on, I believe it's C31, which is something like channel 44 in Australian digital TV. And I did an interview with the main operator of Dollars with Cents, who's also the CEO of Castlecoin. And that was a fantastic interview that we did. Discussed EZIRA in really simple, approachable terms, focused on the EZIRA versus Facebook narrative, focused on data privacy and information security for users, and most importantly enabling users to earn a share of the revenue that they generate for those platforms. So people who use Facebook that upload content there, they are not getting any of the return that that company earns for their content, and the advertising revenue sold against it is in the billions of dollars, and users don't see a cent of that money there. So that was the part that we focused on to make sure that it was really approachable to a mainstream audience. We didn't go too deep into the woods with the technology or any of the underlying blockchain, crypto economics or anything like that. We kept it really high level, kept it really focused around the values of EZIRA, that we enable people to earn rewards for their content, stuff that's going to be very interesting for a mainstream user to hear, maybe a little bit of an older user as well. Older generations typically don't find themselves as clued in with cryptocurrency, so this interview enables them to reach out through a new medium that EZIRA hasn't really gone into, and that's TV at the moment. We'll also be reaching out to the people at the Blockchain Center with our public meetup there on the 25th of July. So EZIRA will be featured on local TV in Australia, and that interview will be posted to Dollars with Cents' Facebook page, where it will be shared with the rest of the EZIRA social media sphere as soon as it's released. So next topic this week is the bitshares Android wallet worker proposal and competition. So for those of you who were on the bitshares Hangout last night, there was a very interesting proposal from I believe they're called the Cabinet, and they're a group of bitshares application developers who have made a very beneficial proposal and competition on the bitshares blockchain, whereby people are able to apply with projects to be in the running for a share in $150,000 of funding from the bitshares worker pool. So if that proposal succeeds and goes through, EZIRA will be making an entry into that, and will be proposing that an app be developed to hold the EZIRA user issued asset and allow people to participate in the EZIRA bitshares ecosystem. So we'll be taking part of that competition when the worker proposal is approved, which I believe that it will be very soon. Yeah. Okay, going forward. So next subject is how EZIRA promotes liquidity on the DEX. So how EZIRA promotes liquidity on the DEX has a few different faces. So how EZIRA improves over the bitshares model of the decentralized exchange is with a few new features and with a few crypto economic changes. So another topic that was brought up by the bitshares Hangout is the fact that a lot of the actual fee burning comes from non-trading activity. The trading only burns a very small percentage because it's something only like I believe the fee it's 1/8% worth of bitshares per order. So that's very, very low, and it doesn't actually scale with the value of orders. So it's a flat fee that doesn't take into consideration the value of the transaction that's going through the bitshares blockchain. So how EZIRA will promote liquidity on its decentralized exchange is by having a different fee structure. Instead of having a flat fee of a small fraction of a cent per trade, it'll be having a 0.1% fee only on the taker side of the exchange. So when you purchase something from the DEX, you take the liquidity, you will pay a 0.01% fee, which is in line with other centralized exchanges. But however, what you won't pay is a fee on the other side of the deal. So when you create the order, that will have no fee. So there will be a significant incentive for people on the DEX to create limit orders and improve the liquidity of the decentralized exchange by market making. How EZIRA will also promote liquidity on the DEX is by having Bancor asset arrays. So the Bancor algorithm has come under a lot of scrutiny recently because of its usage in EOS's RAM allocation mechanism. It's becoming a bit of a problem because the way that EOS allocates its RAM is as a tradable commodity. So it's taken something that the blockchain generally offers as a service based on stake weight, and it's made it allocated using the pricing algorithm of Bancor, but in such a way that it returns EOS at the new price after it's been purchased. So what that means is that if you buy it up at a lower price, then you can deallocate that RAM and receive more EOS than you put in. So that allows for speculation, and it basically pushes the price of RAM to the highest carrying capacity that it will have, even if it's not being allocated. Even if it's not being used, people are still able to speculate on it, so it causes the price of RAM to be quite high and require significant lockups of EOS to access. And the account creation fee is becoming a little bit untenable for something that is supposed to be free for end users. So that's one of the problems of the Bancor algorithm when it's not used, I believe, to the right effect. How EZIRA will use the Bancor algorithm is by enabling every single user-issued asset on the EZIRA blockchain to have an EZIRA gateway, an EZIRA Bancor asset gateway rather, between its specific user-issued asset and a floating reserve pool of EZIRA coin. So what this means is that every asset will be asynchronously liquid, which means you'll be able to put in either that asset or EZIRA coin and receive the other one out from the reserves of the asset array. So for those of you who are familiar with Bancor, you'll know that the way Bancor works is you put in one side of the gateway, whether it's Bancor or it's Ethereum, or it might be EOS is one of the popular ones, and then the algorithm itself prices how much of the respective opposite token you get back. EZIRA will enable that using graphene blockchain, so there won't be gas fees. EZIRA will enable that using a graphene blockchain with no direct transaction fees. There will be a fee charged by the array creator, so the creator of the asset will be able to earn a fee from the array, but the protocol itself will only charge a 0.1% fee on trades, just as if it was on the books. But off the order book, people will be able to essentially put in their user issued asset. Is there a question? No, go ahead. Yeah. Anyway, moving forward, what these Bankor arrays will do is enable people to put in EZIRA coin as the connector token, is effectively the connection asset between all of the different user issued assets that are on the EZIRA blockchain. So every time you create an asset, it'll have the ability for you to deposit a reserve pool of EZIRA coin against it and a reserve pool of the asset itself. And market makers will be able to adjust that price accordingly to fit the order book. So users will always have a single buy and sell price against EZIRA coin, and there'll be a mechanism to reduce that spread to a very, very low point. So it'll use Bankor asset arrays on every single asset for liquidity. The third thing it'll do is enable the use of peer-to-peer lending. So what a lot of other exchanges don't do is they don't enable you to make short positions on assets. And that's because they have no lending facility. So what EZIRA will enable anyone to do is lend any of their user issued assets via a lending order to anyone else. And they'll be able to sell short those assets, create a short position when they have sufficient collateral. And they'll be able to take short positions on every single user issued asset on every single trading pair that it has, which is with every other asset. So there'll be much better liquidity in terms of two sides of the market actually being taken into consideration. There'll be those who are buying it and those who are shorting it, which will enable every single asset to earn an interest rate when it is lent to shorters. So this improves the liquidity of the DEX quite significantly by giving every asset an effective interest rate and giving every asset the ability to be shorted when it's overvalued, which helps to counteract pump and dumps and the like. So the final option that people will have on the bitshares DEX is, of course, to use option assets. So there will be option assets on the EZIRA DEX against the EZIRA coin trading pair for every asset. Other assets against different pairs will be able to be created manually, but the option chain sheet will be by default created against the EZIRA coin trading pair for the sake of condensing the order book. And people will be able to issue and call options. So what that'll enable is you'll be able to effectively lock in an asset by making a covered call or a covered put. So when you hold an asset, you'll be able to create an equal amount of options against that asset, sell them on the DEX, and then if they get activated, your position will be recalled and you might make a loss on that, or if the options don't get activated, then you'll make a small profit from holding them. So that'll enable upwards and downwards, long and short liquidity of positions that are a bit more non-linear with changes in price. And what that importantly enables is for the use of butterfly spreads. So butterfly spreads is something that's quite frequently used in the mainstream trading markets. And what they are is it's holding two options simultaneously that are at slightly different prices, such that if the price stays still, you're able to earn money, or if the price moves away from that price, then you take a loss, and that's called short volatility. And that position is used quite frequently by financial institutions, and it's what maintains the stability of the modern financial system, because every time an asset moves, it causes the short volatility positions to respond in a price stabilizing way. So EZIRA's decentralized exchange will enable the short volatility position by holding two simultaneous options on an asset. So one earns a profit if it goes, one earns a profit if it doesn't move up, and one earns a profit if it doesn't go down. So when you hold both at the same time, you earn money from it staying still, and people on the other side of the trade will be earning money if the asset does move either up or down. So that's 4 ways that EZIRA is going to promote liquidity on its decentralized exchange. And we'll move on to the next subject, and that's the EZIRA Pioneer release specifications. So the EZIRA Pioneer release is the official release of the testnet for open usage by EZIRA asset holders. So EZIRA asset holders will have access to an account on the EZIRA Pioneer release. They'll be able to make an account on the Pioneer release, which will be a new blockchain created, and it'll have some of the initial features of EZIRA, including user-issued asset creation, creating posts, earning content rewards, making a limited a limited selection of types of posts, rather. So there'll be articles, there'll be images, things like that, and it will use IPFS in a preliminary alpha way. So it won't be perfect, but it'll be something that at least just works. So that'll be the minimum viable product effectively for EZIRA, and to help people get an understanding of what's included in the Pioneer release. So this will be the first major release tag is the Pioneer release, and then from there we'll develop in all of the more advanced features. So for those of you who have read the EZIRA Whitepaper, you'll be familiar with the Pioneer release at the end of the Whitepaper. But for those of you who may not have had the opportunity to read the Whitepaper yet, I'll jump ahead to this important bit, which is quite often overlooked, and that's the EZIRA release schedule. So we'll jump into that. There it is. Okay, so we'll pop through to the end of the Whitepaper with a the part of the Whitepaper that I think has the highest ratio of most important divided by least commonly read in the Whitepaper. So the most underrated and most important part of the Whitepaper, I think, is the release schedule, which actually describes what EZIRA will do and in what order. So I'll take you through from the project outline, and then I'll read the Pioneer release and then skim over the rest of them. So first of all, the project outline. So first the Whitepaper was released many months ago now. Then the website was released. Then the establishment of the core dedicated team. So that's where we were at recently. And where we are currently at, so we are here, is the preliminary initial coin offering. So the user issued asset on bitshares for angel funding to raise funds to build the testnet. Then we'll have the appointment of 8 initial executive board positions. And here it is here, the Pioneer release, which is the functional EZIRA blockchain testnet client software and web application. So what that means is that what we release before the mainnet ICO, before the main ICO, will be a blockchain that fits this specification. So it'll be able to do at least these features, if not more. So it'll be the EZIRA blockchain testnet. It'll have a delegated proof of stake block production system. So it will be able to elect witnesses effectively to produce blocks on that testnet. And we've started to see some people inquire about proposing their candidacy for block producing. So if you would like to be an EZIRA block producer or a witness, then just email me and I'll send you the template for applying to be a block producing witness. So that is going to be something that the community will vote on. So who will produce the early blocks on the testnet, that'll be up to the community. So the testnet will be able to create persona accounts, so in the same way as we can create Steam accounts, so that won't be changed from Steam. Profile accounts will be coming in Silver release. Access the Test EZIRA wallet, so that'll be, there won't be a EZIRA coin, there will be Test EZIRA. So there will be user issued asset creation. There will be a decentralized exchange, and at that time it will not have fees yet, because it is the testnet. People will be able to create text, blog, and link posts. So there will be 3 types of posts. One for text, so there will be a fixed character limit for text posts that are displayed inline. There will be blog posts, which will be the same as a current Steam post. And there will be a link post, which only contains a link, and that will be formatted similarly to what you might be familiar with on Reddit. People will be able to vote on posts, but there won't be formal content rewards. Those rewards will be paid in Test EZIRA, which will not have any economic value, because this chain will be periodically reset as we develop through the process. You'll be able to send Test EZIRA transactions, so there will be only one currency at that time. Test EZIRA will be share dropped according to EZIRA balance, but that'll be done through a manual process. So when people create their testnet EZIRA account, their bitshares username will be able to be used for that process, and posts will be sorted by the main preset options, which are similar to Steam's, except instead of doing trending, we'll be having hot top, which is just going to be the top upvoted in a specific period of time. So you'll be able to set most upvoted in a day, a week, a month, etc. New active, will be bringing back active, a very underutilized sorting algorithm. It was originally a part of Steemit until they took it away. And random, so you'll be able to sort posts randomly, and some posts will be able to get some more exposure by having people select them randomly. So that's going to be the Pioneer release, so there won't be too many significant changes from the Steam blockchain in the Pioneer release, and that'll be the minimum viable product testnet. So we will have at least this working before we go to the main ICO. That's the commitment from the EZIRA team, that we will at minimum have this specification filled before we go to mainnet ICO. So main additions from the Steam blockchain is that we will have differently formatted posts for text and links, which is something that Steam has been crying out for a long time. So those won't have titles, they'll just show the text of the post as the body. So it'll be formatted more similarly to a tweet than to a Medium post. And the creation of user-issued assets will be added in, and you'll be able to sort through posts randomly and by active. So that's essentially Steam plus the functionality of bitshares in a limited extent. That'll be the minimum viable product testnet, and that's what's going to be released before the main ICO. Do we have a question? Any questions? Okay. And moving forward this week, we will go into the final topic. Yeah, so that's pretty much wrapping up the EZIRA Pioneer release, and then we'll have any particular questions that anyone has throughout the Hangout. Does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about the Pioneer release or any of the other topics that we discussed? Just reading through the chat, we have a few questions here. Ready for block producer. So we've had people inquire about becoming a block producer, so that is something that is open to every EZIRA user the ability to become a block producing witness. So for those of you who aspire to be an EZIRA witness, all you'll need to do is make a public Steam thread detailing your witness proposal with your witness name, and I'll be able to create a formal guideline for what should be in that proposal very soon. I'll make that available to everybody. So for those of you who would like to become an EZIRA witness, that opportunity will be available by posting a witness thread to Steam in the same way that Steam witnesses post to the witness category. So to answer Genki's question, so can I write a call option on EZIRA? Yes, you will be able to write call options on EZIRA, that's right. So for those of you who aren't familiar with what a call option is, I'll just go over what that means a bit. A call option is a financial instrument that describes the right but not the obligation to buy something at a specific strike price. So it's basically a piece of paper, or in EZIRA's case, a smart contract based asset that enables you to buy, in this case EZIRA, and say the strike price was $1 per EZIRA. If you bought a EZIRA call option for a strike price of $1, and the price of EZIRA today was, for example, 75 cents, and if the price of EZIRA went to $1.10, for example, you would be able to purchase EZIRA at the price of 75 cents, well, at the price of $1 rather, the strike price, and then sell it at its current price. So it's and if you pay a small price for that, and then it becomes much larger, the difference between the strike price and the actual price, there's the potential to make some significant gains on that, or the potential to make some significant losses if you're the one actually writing the option, because you have to sell it to the person at the strike price. So it's the ability to make effectively asymptotic bets on the price of an asset based on whether it goes past a certain point. The opposite side of that is a put option. So if you believed that the price of EZIRA was going to go down, you might purchase an EZIRA put option at, for example, 50 cents, and if the price of EZIRA was currently 75 and it fell to, for example, 30, a put option is the right to sell at a specific price. So you would be able to buy it up off the market at 30 cents and then sell it with your put option at 50 cents. That's right, you can't lose if the strike price is above your initial... Hang on, let me get that right. You can't lose more than the cost of the option. So if the option doesn't get activated, then you lose the cost of the option, that's right. It's a very common way that financial institutions earn money from simply holding large amounts of stock is they write options against it. So they earn the price of risk. They take on the risk. Yeah. And we have Nick, who's the lead dev on at the moment, and if Nick would like to go on the microphone to explain his work on the EZIRA testnet, it's been fantastic progress seeing Nick go and get this testnet up and running. I'll just hand the mic over to Nick if you want to say a few words about what you've been up to lately.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you, Nick.
Ah, see. Well, I've been working on the Node C++ code base, and just configuring a few Steamd instances, and getting them to talk to each other, and setting up accounts and witnesses.
Very good. All very important components to getting a new Steam blockchain off the ground. So we'll be starting with just a plain old fork of Steam, and then we'll be moving into adding the features that I described earlier for the Pioneer release. So that's mainly the addition of some different post formatting types and the decentralized exchange with asset creation. So we believe that a lot of open source code will be able to be utilized from bitshares in order to make that possible. So we'll be going through with the Pioneer release development after the completion of the preliminary ICO, but at this stage it's all systems go on the development of the testnet at this point in time. Thanks, Nick.
No worries.
So does anyone else have any questions regarding the topics that we discussed this week, whether it be the EZIRA option assets, the EZIRA Bancor asset arrays, or anything like that? Okay, we have Serby, who has asked, tell me about gold, silver, etc. accounts. That's a fantastic question. What I'll do for you, Serby, is I'll bring up the recently added graphic to the EZIRA Whitepaper, which shows a comprehensive comparison between all of the different membership types. So I'll get this graphic up first, and then we'll go through this together. So this describes the features that are on offer for the purchases of EZIRA membership assets. So to explain this a little bit more clearly, an EZIRA membership asset will be just like any other user issued asset, except it will be created by the EZIRA main account. So the EZIRA main account will sell a specific number of these assets onto the decentralized exchange on a regular basis. That's once per month. They will be sold to the exchange, and that will be through the use of a limit order in much the same way that you purchase EZIRA today. So EZIRA today is sold on the decentralized exchange through a limit order. These assets will be sold also through a limit order, except these assets will be coded onto the blockchain such that when 1 unit of that asset is burned by destroying it and sending it to null, but the user won't need to worry about any of that. It'll just be activate membership. When 1 unit of these assets, whether it be silver, gold, platinum, or diamond membership, when one of them is activated, that account becomes imbued with some additional capacities. So all of these memberships will enable the user to disable promoted posts on all interfaces. And there'll be crypto-economic incentives to ensure that all interfaces, even third-party adversarial interfaces, honor that. So they'll be able to disable assets, disable promoted post displays. They'll be able to access premium partners' content up to a specific value. For silver, it's $50. For gold, it's $150. For platinum, it's $500 per month, and for diamond, that's unlimited free premium partners content. So by free premium partners content, I mean the ability to access premium content. So that's content that has a paywall to access it, that is uploaded by accounts that have specified that they are going to be premium partners. The price is in EZIRA dollars, which tracks the US dollar. So this will be US dollars per month, and it'll grant you access to 50 EZIRA dollars worth of premium content. So for example, if there's an artist that is selling a song, and they might charge, say, 10 cents to download that song, then if you have a silver membership, you'll be able to download it without paying the 10 cents, and instead it'll effectively send 10 virtual cents from your partner's content balance. So it'll deduct like a credit, and you'll go down to $49.90 for example, and then the premium partner, the person on the other end that is, will receive a share of the membership revenue in total. Thank you, John Robert. We'll see you later if you've got to head off. Thank you for showing up and participating. Thank you, John. Going forward, the $50 effectively credit will be able to buy content that is uploaded by premium partners. So if an account chooses, they can allow their content to be made free for members, and instead of being paid directly by that, they'll earn a share in all membership revenue from people purchasing accounts, by purchasing membership rather. So 20% of incoming membership revenue will be distributed between all premium partners based on their sales within this mechanism. So they might charge 10 cents, and if that goes through, they'll earn a proportional share in the amount of membership revenue that EZIRA gets based on their share of total spending from people's premium partners balance. So it's effectively like a credit system that gets you a share in the total membership. Instead of charging everybody 10 cents up front, it'll be 10 cents from a credit balance, and then based on that you might get a share. You get a share from the membership payments overall. Members will also have a voting power boost of 10% for silver, 20% for gold, 30% for platinum, and 50% for diamond. The activity reward, which is issued to all accounts once per 24 hours, will be boosted in its proportional allocation. So your account's effective share of that reward will be boosted by 50%, all the way up to 300% for diamond members. People will be able to access the EZIRA officer reward pools with a gold membership, so that means the account will be eligible to be a developer or a marketer or an advocate. So witnesses are not included in that, but the other three require the account to be a holder of a gold membership. Posts from gold members and above are also eligible to be put onto the featured page. So the featured page is curated content that is the default homepage of users who aren't logged in. So it's designed to show the best content from our members on EZIRA. So gold members will be able to have their posts featured, and that'll be the best content selected once per hour. So that'll be a great way for people to get a lot of visibility onto their content, is to have it put onto the featured page, which has it's effectively a curated content by the platform, such that the post with the highest feature ranking, which is in the technical white paper, the explanation for that, but the highest feature ranking is added to the top of the featured page once per hour. So to bring that into a different analogy, imagine if there was an algorithm that selected the current highest voted Steam post and put it onto a separate blog once per hour. So there would be a continual stream of high quality content put into there, but released at the rate of once an hour. So it's a bit more static, and it's not going to change so much, so that everything that goes onto the top gets a massive boost in visibility. Accounts will have a promoted post boost of either 10, 30 or 50% on their expenditure relative to other content. So that means that when a gold, platinum or diamond user promotes their post, it'll have the effective value boosted by a specific percentage, which will get it displayed across more interfaces. The marketplace and trading fee discounts, that is pretty simple. When you trade on the marketplace or the decentralized exchange, the fee will be discounted by either 10, 50 or 90%. The post bonus promotion, so each post gets a certain amount of content, a certain amount of value added to its promotion balance for free, effectively. There will be a content reward boost of 10 and 20% for platinum and diamond members. So that means the amount of EZIRA coin earned for content posts is boosted relative to other accounts by either 10 or 20%, so that's a very important one there. It puts Diamond members with the ability to earn a 20% bonus on their content posts. And the final piece is governance address eligibility. So what that means is that Diamond members will be able to have other users nominate their account as a governance address, which means that they get a 15% share of the revenue spent by that account. So that's intended to be a way for the EZIRA development team to earn funds on the voluntary basis of contributing 15% of the revenue put into the network to either the EZIRA address or another address that users can choose. So by default it'll be EZIRA and community, but users are able to change that address if they would like. So that covers the membership features there. And we have a question of, will the membership prices be static or can this change in the future? So the membership assets are sold on the DEX by a smart contract from the EZIRA main account in such a way that they have a minimum price that's fixed. So they will cost at least 10 EZIRA dollars for silver, 25, 50 or 100 EZIRA dollars up for diamond. Diamond. And there's only a fixed supply of each membership. So if there is more demand than supply, particularly for diamond memberships, the price is actually floating at a free market price. So if there's 10,000 diamond membership assets issued per month, that means that there can only be 10,000 diamond members at a time, a maximum of 10,000 at a time. Otherwise they'll run out of assets. So there will be a limitation to the amount of each member that there can be, and those assets will be sold to the highest bidders by placing a buy order on the DEX for a price that's above $100. So say for example there's 10,000 diamond members, 10,000 diamond membership assets rather, and then there are 30,000 accounts that really want to be diamond members. There will be a price auction effectively that bids the price of diamond membership up until there are an equal number of people who want to pay that amount for diamond membership versus those who don't, and they choose not to get it instead and go down to a lower membership. So what that means is that a lot of the features of the accounts are pretty powerful. A lot of features of the membership are pretty powerful, like unlimited premium content for diamond members, 90% trading fee discount. That membership might be worth a lot more to a huge business than to a regular home user. So that allows the price of the membership to freely float so that the EZIRA protocol can earn a revenue that is proportional to the amount of value offered by that membership. It also prevents effectively inflation of voting power because diamond memberships offer a 50% bonus to voting power, but if everyone has it, then there's no bonus. A 50% bonus proportionally offered to everyone just gives everyone the same amount of voting power again. So it has to be a bonus over the rest of the network, so there has to be a limited supply of the memberships. So I hope that answers your question there. So the price will be, it'll have a price floor. They'll only be able to be bought at a minimum price, and if there is too much demand to outweigh supply, then the price will rise, which also means that the price can fall when the demand falls in response. So I hope that answers your question. Does anyone have any other questions this week? Either related to the topics that I discussed before or anything else? Okay, thank you. In that case, we'll move on to a very important part of this week's Hangout, the part where we draw the next competition winner. So we'll come back to the crowdfunding and auction guide later. To answer your question, Genki, the auction finishes approximately 1 hour after this Hangout. To see all of the bids that have been incoming, simply go to Ezira's bitshares account, where all of the bids are transparently viewable by everyone. So we can go take a look at the current bids to the EZIRA account. So we've got bids from Shabhan96, from Wiljo7, from Boney1994, Serby95, Toby Shinks, and San1 are our most recent bidders. Thank you to all of our bidders. You'll be added to the weekly auction sheet after the Hangout. But first we'll go onto the crowdfunding guide and for the auction as well. So currently the EZIRA asset is being sold on the decentralized exchange at a price of 60 cents by the EZIRA main account, and that means that anybody anywhere without any KYC or any identity information can purchase a stake in EZIRA. So the current lowest selling price is at 55 cents. However, that won't last because I'm about to buy it back. So what we'll see is to put in an order to purchase EZIRA from the DEX, all you need to do is create your bitshares account using the video that I showed before. The video that's on EZIRA's YouTube explains exactly how to make a bitshares account. You simply place in an order to buy EZIRA on the bitUSD pair at a quantity of your choice. Today we're going to use 30 EZIRA, and then we're going to buy that there and confirm the transaction. And there we have it. So that's how people can buy EZIRA off of the bitUSD pair. So head to exchange.ezira.io to see how you can purchase the EZIRA asset off of the BitShares exchange. There's also a trading pair for EZIRA against BitShares by pressing the BitShares button under My Markets, where BitShares is at the rate of 3.5, where EZIRA is at the rate of 3.5 BitShares rather. This trading pair tends to get a bit more liquidity than the bitUSD pair. And there's also the Ethereum pair, where EZIRA is being sold at 138, but it's 1.38 milli Ethereum. Yep, that's the one. And on the Bitcoin pair, it's being sold at the much more round price of 10,000 Satoshis. And on Steam, it is offered at 0.44 Steam. So it's possible to buy EZIRA directly using bitUSD, BitShares, Ethereum, Bitcoin, or Steam on exchange.ezira.io. In order to contribute to this week's auction, all you have to do is go to your BitShares account of choice and press the send button and type in send to EZIRA. That's EZIRA. Then send your desired quantity of BitShares. It might be 10,000 BitShares, for example, and then you don't have to put in a message because you will be added to the auction sheet, and 10,000 EZIRA will be distributed proportionally according to the value bid to the EZIRA account. So currently we've had quite a lot of bids coming in because there is 10,000 EZIRA up for grabs. And there are quite a lot of people in our community eager to get their EZIRA stacks looking a bit more healthy. So there have been bids on the order of 1,000 bitshares, and I think the largest bid that we've had coming through this week was from, let me get this one right, it was Dusty04 with 240 bitUSD. So that's a massive bid there from Dusty04, thank you. So he'll be getting a very large share of this week's weekly auction, where there is 10,000 EZIRA up for grabs to all of the bidders, distributed proportionally. So yep, just as I thought, Dusty04 with his contribution of Ethereum and BitShare and bitUSD rather is going to be looking at a sizable chunk of about 4,000 EZIRA, and also some of our other Ethereum bidders will be looking at something on the order of 2,000 EZIRA at this point in time. So there are a few more bids that need to be added on here, so all these numbers will be readjusted. But there is plenty of EZIRA to be accessed this week in the auction. So the auction finishes 1 hour after this hangout. And that pretty much wraps that up. So we'll get to the bit that a lot of you have been waiting for, and that is the announcement of the EZIRA competition. So last week we had the EZIRA Twitter competition, which had a massive response. Our largest competition yet, with our largest potential prize yet. There are some people who would do quite well if they won this. 200 EZIRA plus 5% of their EZIRA balance. Now, you've got to understand that there are people who have a lot of EZIRA. So if they won this competition, they'd be earning themselves a tidy chunk of change. So we'll go through all of these here. So it's getting back a bit far. Okay, so how will yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I want to ask some questions, please.
Okay, go ahead. Samis.
Yeah, from the membership caption that you posted, I'm trying to look at the silver, gold, platinum, and diamond that you talked about, and I want to really get the understanding there that if I sent, let's take for example the silver now, I send out $10. The $10 is going to be in form of bitshares I sent to EZIRA wallet, right?
So these memberships are only going to be activated on the EZIRA mainnet, so there are no memberships at this point yet. They will be on the mainnet. So bitshares will not be having
until the mainnet is released, right?
That's right, that's correct, yes.
Oh, okay, now I get it.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, I appreciate it.
So what you'll be able to do when the mainnet is released is, in this order, you'll be able to import your bitshares account into the EZIRA mainnet. From there, you'll be able to access your share dropped EZIRA from the balancer you hold on bitshares. Then you'll be able to use that EZIRA, potentially sell a small amount of that EZIRA for EZIRA dollars, which are backed by EZIRA coin, and then you'll be able to use those EZIRA dollars to purchase EZIRA membership assets and activate them. However, that process will all be made much more easy than it sounds. We'll make a really nice user interface that just says buy membership, and then it'll automatically deduct your EZIRA dollar balance to buy it off the exchange and automatically burn it for you. We'll handle all of that in the interface. So to simplify what I just said, there are no memberships yet, but those of you who hold ICO tier levels will have free membership on the release of the mainnet for 6 months, so it'll be a few months before any of you guys need to worry about purchasing membership. We're going to get that up and running for free for the ICO supporters, and then after 6 months, and for the accounts that weren't ICO participants, their membership assets will be released later on in, I believe it's the silver release. Silver release is the mainnet. So yeah, no memberships yet. They'll be in the mainnet. Getting back to the drawing of the competition. So we'll take a look through this thread here. So we have, I'll read through some of the tweets that we've received here. It's been a fantastic turnout. We have Serbi with EZIRA is my next step in freedom with lots of features. Thank you, Serbi, with 87 retweets and 120 likes. That's fantastic. I think that's the biggest competition tweet we've ever had. It'll be tough to beat that one. That's over 200 combined likes and retweets there. So that's, I think that one might have it. I haven't seen any higher than that. We've got Crypto Advisor who says, allow me to share a project that means a lot to me. EZIRA is the Voltron of social media and business with lots of integration. Crypto lovers should watch out and join EZIRA Network. Watch out for and join EZIRA Network, rather. Then we have John McKindy who said EZIRA is the future of all things mobile with a combination rather of business and fun all the way up EZIRA. Then we have Angel Santave who says EZIRA is the glory of innovation in business, social networks and cryptocurrencies. Everything you want in a decentralized platform to achieve success. Then we have Natalia Loretto who says, EZIRA means to me the way to do everything in one place and make money while doing it. That's a really good summary there. Thank you, Natalia. Eric Perdomo with EZIRA is the new thing to come, a well-developed project where we can all connect. It will be the boom. It will be the boom, says Eric. EZIRA is the next generation in social networks. People can find the power to innovate, negotiate, and connect as never before. Thank you, Ruben Alashon, I think is how that's pronounced. Maria Ballesteros with EZIRA for me is the change towards the future of the platforms. It is an opportunity for people's financial independence. EZIRA is our future. Then we have one in Spanish, and unfortunately I can't read Spanish, so I won't embarrass myself with this one here. But thank you, Ricelis Gomez, for your entry. EZIRA is change, opportunity, and positive growth in social networks. Thank you, Sam. We have Nicholas with the future of social networks, business, and much more is in EZIRA, a place for everyone. It will be a platform that will give us the opportunity we seek. EZIRA means the next level in social networks, which gives you the power to innovate, negotiate, and connect as never before. Thank you, Goody. We have Lauren Stephanie with EZIRA is the best option for a future full of financial freedom, new friends, and valuable information. EZIRA Network, be part of the future. Enjoy us. Indeed. Then we have Jesus Antonio with EZIRA means evolution. It has to deal with real human values. Also powerful financial freedom between future communities. And Lauren Stephanie again with EZIRA is the best option for a future full of financial freedom, new friends, and valuable information. And then there's the start of the competition. Okay, so I think it's a close one to call between Jesus with 90 max at 202 combined likes and retweets for Jesus there. And it's probably between Jesus and Serbi for this one here. There's Serbi with 207 combined likes and retweets, which means that I think Serbi has done it. 207 has beaten Jesus Antonio by a slim 5 likes and retweets in combination. So we'll just check that Serbi has followed the majority of the rules and posted in the competitions section. There it is, Serbi's post with the BitShares ID Honey1994. Congratulations to Serbi, this week's EZIRA competition winner. So congratulations to Serbi, who is in the Hangout today. So that's 300 EZIRA plus the instantaneous value of Serbi's EZIRA holdings, which is Honey 1994. So Honey 1994. Oh, here we go. Looks like Serbi has 2,910 EZIRA. So we'll get 5% of that, and then we'll work that out there. So that means Serbi wins a grand total of 445.5 EZIRA. Congratulations, Serbi. $445.5 EZIRA. And there we go. Okay, 445.5 EZIRA has been sent. Congratulations to Serbi, and thank you to everyone who entered this week's Twitter competition. This one was a huge one. Over 200 combined likes and retweets. The top two contenders only off by 5 likes and retweets. Fantastic performance this week. This really shows the growth of EZIRA through organic social media outreach, and it really shows how any community can grow through some fun competitions using BitShares. This really comes down to BitShares. Without BitShares, EZIRA would not exist. It's that simple. So I'd like to thank everybody for entering the competition. And congratulations again to Serbi, winner of 445 EZIRA. So the scaling with the EZIRA balance is something I think I'd like to keep into the competitions going forward. But we'll move on to the next topic this week, which is the next EZIRA competition. So next week, so that'll be finishing up next Hangout, there will be another EZIRA competition this week. And this competition will be also on Twitter, so it'll have a very similar format to the last competition. So EZIRA Twitter competition number 2 is as follows. Post a tweet answering the following question. What will be your first post to EZIRA? So when the EZIRA mainnet is released, what's the first thing you want to post onto the EZIRA mainnet? Answer this question in 1 sentence and include the tags hashtag EZIRA hashtag EZIRA and @EZIRA network, and include a link to the EZIRA Telegram and Discord. So that's again t.me/EZIRA network, and Discord will be your own personal invitation link that you can access from the Discord interface. Link your post in the competitions Discord with your BitShares address to enter. So that means you have to simply join the EZIRA Discord and comment in the competition section of the Discord, where all the other competition posts are. It's pretty hard to miss, with a link to your post and your BitShares address. And the tweet with the most combined likes and retweets on Twitter will win, again, 200 EZIRA plus 5% of their total EZIRA holdings. So that means the more EZIRA that you have, the more you are able to win in this competition. The winner will be announced in next week's Hangout, and if the winner is present in that Hangout, they will win a bonus 100 EZIRA, just like this week with Serbi. And the first valid entry as of right now will win 10 bonus EZIRA and be linked in the EZIRA Hangout thread that is currently on the front page of Steam. So the first valid entry that answers the question, what will be your first post to EZIRA, will be linked in the EZIRA Hangout thread. That's hot linked to the entire front page of steam.com. And you will win 10 bonus EZIRA. So we'll be seeing who is able to win that first, and who's able to hop onto their Twitter account the fastest and get this competition underway. Okay, so moving right along will be the general discussion slide. So we have reached the end of the EZIRA Hangout for this week, and we'll have any open questions for myself about any subject, whether it's related to EZIRA or cryptocurrency in general or any other subject. And you can email me at harrison@ezira.io for any other queries, team role applications, project proposals, or business matters. And another one is witness application proposals. If you would like to be an initial EZIRA witness, then you can email me, and we'll work you into the EZIRA mainnet launch team as an initial witness. So similar to the way that the EOS blockchain was launched, except the development team will be coordinating this launch with the team instead of relying on the team to coordinate globally around the world. So if you would like to be an EZIRA blockchain witness, then you can email harrison@ezira.io, and I'll send you the template to make your EZIRA witness application thread, and we'll get those linked onto ezira.io so that the community can decide which ones of us will be the witnesses to the EZIRA blockchain and produce the blocks that we so need. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to ask those questions. Anyone have any questions at all about the EZIRA project? Or okay, so we have AFOL Wilex with any requirement to becoming a witness. So when you read the EZIRA whitepaper, there is a small list of requirements to become a witness. So I'll just go onto those. For those of you who may not have been able to get the EZIRA whitepaper under your belt, we'll pop through to that important part. So these are the requirements to becoming a witness, or becoming a member of the witness reward pool, which is producing blocks and being a witness. You need to download a consensus supported EZIRA node software client. So what that means is any implementation of the EZIRA node software that points to the EZIRA mainnet blockchain. Then you'll need to run that node in witness mode with a full blockchain and propagate transactions. When the witness is chosen, up to once every 60-second block round, the witness produces a block containing the latest transactions of the network. Witnesses are in a random order, chosen from the hash of the previous block. They will produce... Okay, so one of the important requirements of being a witness is you have to produce a price feed of all of the witness parameters. So in the bitshares ecosystem, there is a group of witnesses that are elected to produce blocks, and there is also a committee. So the committee is responsible for making price feeds for stable coins and things like that. On Steam, the witnesses are responsible for making the price feeds for the value of Steam dollars, and on EZIRA they will be responsible for making the price feeds of EZIRA dollars. So you need to produce a continual feed of the price of EZIRA dollars relative to EZIRA and relative to EZIRA coin. You'll need to obviously try and have a machine that has a high amount of RAM, a high amount of memory to hold the blockchain, and it ideally should be very interconnected with other computers and should miss as few blocks as possible. Then witnesses are allocated voting power of any accounts that support them and do not vote in network elections, which leads to the last and very important part of being a witness, is that instead of having the proxy system, which is a little bit prone to not being used in bitshares and Steam, instead of having accounts that may not vote in network elections, so there's a low participation in voting, every account will defer its vote to an equal selection of the witnesses that it has voted for. So every network election that's for the issuance of EZIRA credit, for the electing of the EZIRA executive board members, for things like that, the important votes that are conducted by the network for both real life and on-chain events, things like that, witnesses should always vote for those every formal network election, because they are carrying the voting weight of their voting supporters with them in that network election. So they're effectively the delegates for voting in network elections. So that's a new feature that will be activated on EZIRA in the mainnet. So the technical requirements are that you have at least one computer or access to a computer or cloud server that can store the blockchain and produce blocks. So if you've run a graphene witness before, then that's quite a bit of memory and quite a bit of storage space. And you also need to have a very fast computer, a very interconnected computer, or ideally you can run it on the cloud as well. But bare metal machine is obviously better for decentralization. Do you need a specific membership? So witnesses will not need a membership. Witnesses will not need a membership. But developers, advocates, and marketers will need a membership, because those features aren't determined by the production of on-chain blocks. They're just voted based on subjective interpretation. So there needs to be some sort of skin in the game for accounts that are going to be earning rewards from the EZIRA blockchain, to ensure that those people take a bit of responsibility for their roles once they're earning EZIRA coin. So can there be a write-up and video for this? Yes, there will absolutely be detailed guides and write-ups and very, very simple video tutorials for exactly how to do this. We will make EZIRA the most witness-friendly blockchain ever released using the Graphene protocol. We will ideally work it into a desktop client that can be downloaded just like a Bitcoin full node client. Instead of having to run it through command line and build in the development environment and all of that stuff, we will make a single executable program that can run an EZIRA full node witness. That's exactly what I was going to get into, a Qt wallet, that's right. So this is ideally what the EZIRA team will be doing, making a Qt wallet for the EZIRA blockchain, which is something that Steam has needed for quite some time. I ideally hope to be able to run it on Windows, but I will not make any specific promises at this point in time, but it is our intention to have it be able to be run on Windows, yes. So if there's a Qt wallet, then it'll be able to run on Windows, but the time at which the Qt wallet is made may be a little bit down the roadmap a bit. We'll sort the development side of that out when the testnet is a bit more fully realized. But ideally we want that to be a Qt wallet so that people can download that as an executable and just run it and just become a witness without needing to use Linux. Absolutely, thank you, Chucky. Does anyone have any other questions? I feel like this is a good time to bring up any other witness-related questions. Which rewards are you referring to, Chucky? No, there are not. There is no required balance to run the witness node. You'll be able to run that from zero balance. That'll be necessary because at the start there'll be no EZIRA coin. But what you will need to do is have the voting approval of the community that holds EZIRA. Monthly fees, there won't be monthly fees on the blockchain, but there may be monthly fees if you choose to run your witness in the cloud. Witness rewards will be 5% of all issued EZIRA coin. So on the same order of magnitude as a Steam witness. Not essentially, it is delegated proof of stake. It is delegated proof of stake, but we will be merging proof of work back in to the blockchain. So 1 in every 12 blocks will be a proof of work block to provide some proof of work Nakamoto consensus to the chain to make it thermodynamically expensive to change. Limited number of witnesses, there will be 50 main witnesses. So on delegated proof of stake, Dan Larimer loves the number 21. I will be using a number of 50. So the EZIRA blockchain will have 50 witnesses that produce a block every round. And there will be another 5 witnesses chosen from the rest of the elected witnesses to produce a random block. So the order will go 11 witnesses randomly selected from the top 50. And then there will be a random witness from outside the top 50, and then there will be one produced by a miner, or the block produced by the miner at the top of the mining queue. So for those of you who have been in Steam forever and a day, back in the day Steam used to have proof of work built into it, and it wasn't pure DPoS. There was a mining block once every 21 blocks. We will be bringing that into 1 every 12 blocks. So whenever a user has a transaction that is confirmed by a mining block, then they can be fairly certain that it is going to be included in the blockchain. So it brings the transaction finality window down to a smaller interval of time. Instead of needing to wait for 2/3 of the witnesses to approve the block, we will instead have it so that if the miner includes the block, includes a transaction, then the nodes will not go back to a previously used chain once it has been mined on. So we will integrate proof of work into the consensus mechanism to make it more resistant to attack. Does anyone have any other questions? So it's a hybrid delegated proof of stake. I think you've missed the D there, Chucky. Delegated proof of stake and proof of work, that's right. There it is. So what that means is that it's going to be incumbent upon every EZIRA holder to vote for some witnesses at the start of the blockchain. Just like the EOS blockchain had the initial voting period, EZIRA will not have the same level of pure, unadulterated chaos around the launch because EZIRA will be coordinating the launch, the EZIRA development team will be coordinating the launch, and the EZIRA main account will also be a witness in the initial blockchain. So we will mine the Genesis block, we will distribute the chain accordingly, we will include everyone's share drop balances in that Genesis state there. We will also include all of the Genesis posts and Genesis content that is included with a Diamond membership. So every Diamond member, every Diamond EZIRAN rather, a holder of more than 10,000 EZIRA, will be able to include a post of their choice in the first ever EZIRA block. So that means some select few of you will be able to post in the Genesis block alongside myself and the team when we say hello world with the EZIRA blockchain. So that'll be included in the Genesis block that the EZIRA team produces, and then that'll be followed on to by the rest of the witnesses. So we will be a point of launching the chain, but from then on every other witness will be voted on by the community. To make an analogy, it would be like if Block 1 launched their own chain by making Block 1 a witness, so that there wasn't so much confusion about which chain was legitimate and doesn't require a 15% voting majority to activate and all of that assorted garbage. All of that stuff to legally distance themselves and say, yeah, it's totally not our chain, we're not totally not doing anything, we didn't launch it, it's the community's chain, we're not doing anything with it. EZIRA will be taking the responsibility to launch the initial chain, and then if other people choose to produce their own chains based on the same software, then that's completely fine. But we will be launching the first mainnet. My third witness will be an EZIRA witness, says Chucky. Vote for me. Oh, here we go, it starts. So we have Chucky in the running, alongside some other members of the EZIRA community who I won't name names yet, but there is some growing interest in becoming an EZIRA witness. So if you would like to be an EZIRA witness, unlike an EOS witness, there will not be massive hardware requirements to actually being an EOS witness, an EZIRA witness rather. It'll be similar to the system requirements of a Steam witness, because instead of having a gigantic 64 gigabytes of RAM allocated with a trading mechanism on chain, we're not going to be having that, we'll be having something else. So the hardware requirements won't be so completely ridiculous like EOS. So that thing, believe me, it won't start on your computer if you have less than 16 gigabytes of memory. It literally won't let you start it without 16 gigabytes of memory. So the EZIRA witness software will be able to be run by some computers that aren't as completely high spec as an EOS witness, so that it'll open up to more of the community to be able to run a witness node. It'll be more important about the community votes you get than the amount of money you can shovel into a computer. So for those of you who aspire to be an EZIRA witness, it's not me that you have to convince, it's the EZIRA community. So look around amongst yourselves, look to the person above and below you in the Discord Hangout list, because they will be the people that you will be depending on for your EZIRA voting power to be an EZIRA witness. So for those of you who hold EZIRA, start thinking about which members of the community you think might be the best suited to be an EZIRA witness. And take into consideration that some witnesses might choose to support community projects, some witnesses might choose to create their own EZIRA boards and moderate those at launch. Some witnesses might choose to start EZIRA businesses and provide valuable third-party applications and services and products and things like that. So it's up to everyone in the EZIRA ecosystem to choose those witnesses that are going to be the most advantageous to have at the helm of the beating heart of the blockchain. What I will also say is that EZIRA will not be having an off-chain constitution that is going to be attempted to be enforced by arbitrators. There will be no EZIRA constitution until many years down the line. At the launch there will be no signing of an EZIRA constitution that stipulates a no vote buying rule, because it is not going to be possible to enforce that. So it's up to every EZIRA user to choose whether or not they want to vote for witnesses that are going to be buying their vote or not buying their vote. It's better to vote for witnesses who are going to support the community than just pay a dividend, but it's not going to be something that is a summary offense that is going to get your EOS deleted, like it is on some other blockchains. So the potential for vote buying will not be punished on-chain. It will be frowned upon but not punished on-chain in any way. There'll be no stipulation that vote buying is prohibited. So witnesses are able to offer a return for voting, but ideally they should not, because people should be voting based on community interest. There we go, that's a good start, Chucky. Okay, I think I might wrap it up there, unless anyone has any more questions about the EZIRA blockchain and the launch surrounding it. That's alright, check out the recording. The video is linked for those of you who may have missed some pieces of this hangout, the stream is linked at the top of the Discord under Hangout Stream. So next to that is a YouTube link. That's the live stream that is currently going out. So check that out after it's finished for the rest of the EZIRA Hangout. There it is, that's the one. Okay, so I think we'll wrap things up there, and we'll go into the after party if anyone has any other questions. So I'd like to thank everybody throughout the EZIRA community this week for watching this Hangout, and if you're watching this on YouTube, give it a like and subscribe to the EZIRA YouTube channel to keep updated with all the EZIRA Hangouts and all the EZIRA content that's going to be coming out over the coming weeks and months. This is a work in progress. This is a community coming together and forming. Thank you everybody for watching and joining the Hangout. Thank you to everyone who is currently holding EZIRA. You know who you are. Thank you to everyone who likes this content wherever it might be on social media. Help spread this content to the rest of the cryptocurrency sphere by sharing it on Facebook or Twitter or things like that, or sharing it on your other social networks, wherever it might be, because it's important that we get the word out about the EZIRA network, that we are coming to deliver freedom, transparency and community to the world. Thank you and good night. Together we will build the next world. Thank you.